Time for some main event action. Should we get into the film or should we not?
Now let's get right into the film. We got a lot of plays for you guys. It's going to be a good one. We're going to start right off the bat, though, with the illusion that we talked about to gap running and utilizing the pin and pull, especially when Motor's in the game. I mean, this has been a big thing really for the past couple of seasons where Motor just looks more comfortable when he has pulling guards in front of him, when there's some sort of gap scheme going on in front of him in the run game. He just looks more comfortable when he has that aiming point. He knows where the run's supposed to go, and then he can cut off of that if obviously things get off script. But
sorry, I'm laughing at Bates murking.
Of course, exactly. Everything went as planned here. You see Morse and Bates pull out to the right side here, and you see Bates as the kick out block, and then Morse as the lead man pulling through and just bring Singletary through that gap. If Morse gets a better piece of him, who knows? Maybe Singletary has a chance here to make the safety miss right here. But Morse doesn't get a clean piece of him. But the idea here is really more that we got this run past the first level without a problem, without a hitch in this play. Everything went pretty smoothly. Even Spencer Brown didn't secure his block in totality, but everything worked fine because we could get through the run gap as planned, and Singletary can get to the second level. That is the key for this run game, and just staying ahead of schedule. I mean, this was only a 5-6 yard run, but it was on first down, and that goes a long way towards what this offense likes to do and why the Bills are, second in the league in third down efficiency?
Oh, actually, well, as of now, they are first. They have the highest third down conversion. They are at, actually, I have the number in prep for tomorrow. They're first in the league at 55.7% converting on third down. Kansas City Chiefs are second at 52.5%, and then the Seahawks are third at 48.2%.
So the Bills are, obviously, they've been doing great stuff in that regard, but I think a lot of it is chalked up to being ahead of schedule, and that run game needs to be a part of that. And obviously, we saw that a little bit this week in Week 5 against the Steelers.
And that's what's the encouraging part, right? Like we've been banging the drum so much for the importance of the Bills running game. And it's not because they need to be a run first team. It's just because you need to have that establishment of the threat. Like you need to, go the old school verbiage, like establish the run. And it used to be establish the run because that's how you set up the pass and because everybody, everything worked through the run game. That's not what this Bills team is. It's not really what the modern NFL is for the majority of teams, but you need to have that pivot. Again, it's just something to make defenses go, do I have to watch for the run here? Or even, even though you don't need a successful run game to work RPOs and play action, it helps. Like we keep saying it, no, you don't need a great run game to be great in play action and RPOs, but it definitely helps. It definitely makes second and third level defenders bite more, which we're going to see later in this episode. But it was nice to see, again, the Bills get on track a little bit with some kind of identity, right? We don't care what it is. It could be zone, outside zone, mid zone, inside zone, split side zone, split zone. Split side sounds awesome. Split side zone should be a thing. I'm going to try and make that a thing. Or it could be gap, and it could be any kind of gap. It could just be pin and pull. It could be power. It could be counter. You could do it out of 11 personnel. You can do it out of 21, 12. It doesn't matter. It does matter, but have some kind of identity. Have something to hang your hat on if you are this Bills offense. And it was nice to see them get some push and create some holes for Devin Singletary in the run game here with these gap schemes. And again, we alluded to it earlier. You have Ryan Bates and you have Mitch Morse. Neither of them are people movers on the interior in the traditional sense. These aren't mauling interior offensive linemen. They're built for today's NFL. They're built to handle, 3-tech defensive tackles and so on and so forth, which is like what they see. Those are usually what the pass rushers have been these last several years in the new mold for defenses. But they're built lighter. They're quicker on their feet and they're athletic. They're very good in space. Like you see Ryan Bates murk Levi Wallace.
Get out of that stance so fast.
Boom. Look at how quick, and how clean it is. And that's also the point too. I know Spencer Brown doesn't hold his block, but his step down inside, boom, it's so quick and it's so concise with his footwork. It gives Bates. Oh my goodness, I'm falling apart already. And we're only 22 minutes in. It gives Bates a nice clean path to fold right around and get out in front. And then you've got Mitch Morse, who's one of the best movement centers in football. It was nice to see them establish this a little bit We know, everyone knows how successful they were down the stretch last year in gap scheme. I wonder if they start to move towards more of this going forward as something, again, it doesn't need to be the focal point. They just need some kind of identity, something in the run game that they know they can do well that isn't QB power, QB bash, and Josh Allen scrambles. And we started to see it here, again, taking advantage and playing to the strengths of a lot of these offensive linemen.
Yeah, 100%. And that goes towards the point that you teased about how this can impact the RPO game and specifically passing out of RPO looks. And it really does go a long way because you think about what it's going to do to the first and second levels of the defense. We got six plays coming up here. The first of which, the first play, the third play, and the fifth play are all going to be runs. The second, the fourth, and the sixth, they're all going to be passes, all successive, leading off of literally the play after that successful run. And you can see the domino effect of how that run and that successful run impacts the Steelers defense and how it changes how they have to honor the Bills offense and their running attack and opens things up for the passing attack. So obviously we see here, sorry for Huddle being real slow. I think it's my computer. I might have to shut some tabs.
You.
I might have to shut some tabs.
But
we see the Bills here obviously continuing with the gap scheme. And the funny part about this is this was the long of Singletary's day. This was his longest run.
23 yards, right?
Yeah, but the Polars didn't even get through their blocks.
No.
Like, this was not perfect in the sense of execution, what the blockers are supposed to do. You can see that I think it's Bates gets caught up behind Morse and Saffold here. He's just kind of stuck by what Cameron Hayward does to Saffold, and Hayward takes up two guys right there and doesn't even allow the Polar to get to the second level.
And he's hurt. Like, he's hurt in his legs and his upper body, and he's just like such a monster. But exactly your point. Yeah, like Saffold is supposed to down block him. He's supposed to be the pin.
Right.
So that Morse and Bates can be the pull.
And he beats him.
Yeah,
Hayward beats him.
Beats him to the spot. But you know what's nice about it? If you go right to that spot, you know, as Hayward starts to cross the face, you know, go in slow-mo here, you'll watch as the pullers come around the corner, you'll see Bates is trying to get clear and get to the second level, but he sees Hayward start to win completely. Yes, just enough. Now, yes, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see Cam Hayward basically gumming up the works and taking up three blockers, but Bates does enough that he affects Hayward and allows Singletary to get to the second level. And what's also,
of course, make a man miss,
which we haven't seen a ton from him this year. You know, his percentage last year in the run game was over 25%. This year it was down to about 11. What's also nice on this too, watch Tommy Sweeney go back on the snap. Tommy Sweeney just gives the slightest hesitation off the snap at Alex Highsmith, and he makes Highsmith freeze, and it sets up Deion Dawkins. And then Sweeney does a really good job.
Aims to the second level and
gets it Miles Jack
off.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So also because the Bills, because in gap scheme, you're literally changing gaps and you're removing and adding gaps, and they get here to this short side of the field. Even though Hayward gums up the works, because the Bills are pinning and pulling, they have the numbers advantage then going to that side. So even though Hayward takes up two guys and arguably takes up three, the Bills still have the numbers advantage because of the scheme and because what they're doing. And yeah, look, Pops just called it in the chat too. Gabriel Davis seals off his corner. Look at that. Look at that beautiful, nice circle. Well done with the telestrate.
That was actually really,
stuff right there.
Really good circle freehand.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. Look at Gabriel Davis. Like, the only thing better than that circle you made is Gabriel Davis locking out and extending. And you've got something very similar from Tommy Sweeney. You've got a nice clean alley. Singletary has basically a two-way go here on this move. He can go inside, he can go outside, he can kind of do whatever he wants to. Beats his man. Again, not executed ideally how you want up front, but because of the play call and the support from the rest of the team. Again, running the ball is like run fits on defense. It's not just tied to one player. It's a team effort. Everybody, as corny as it is, everybody has to do their 1/11th, and the Bills help out. You know, Hayward is a monster. It's hard for anyone to block him one-on-one. He gets across the face of Saffold. Bates helps him out a little bit, and then you combine with what Davis and Sweeney do on the outside. helping Deion Dawkins a little bit as well on the front line with Sweeney get a nice run. And I think it's Singletary's longest run of the year.
Oh, yeah.
At this point, if we're sitting there looking at it, I think they mentioned it during the game. And yeah, and as Ralph Wilson Sr. comes in and says, now this is football with a smiley face. I think that also, actually, you know what, and I'm going to bring up Andrew's comment too. Andrew says, hit the like button. Yes, please and thank you. If you are enjoying this content, likes go a tremendously long way towards helping this show and the channel as a whole track and trend in front of more eyes and ears. They are the lifeblood of live stream. So please and thank you. If you're enjoying this, throw some likes our way. We would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. And yeah, there's just something satisfactory about being able to run the ball on teams. It's satisfying for the team doing it. And when it's happening to you, it's like your soul is being taken from you. It's a slow death. It's more painful. It's a brutal way to go.
Yeah, you bring it back to what Brandon Staley said last year about running the football, about how important it is to establish that level of physicality and show that, yeah, you can actually manhandle your opponents and not kind of like finesse your way up and down the field, you know, go through the defense instead of around them. And I think that's kind of what the run game brings. And you have to establish that at some point. And that ties it to this play. You establish that this is literally the play right after that long from Singletary, and you see the RPO work. I don't want to say because of that, because we've seen the Bills RPO work otherwise, but it makes it easier. It sucks up the second level and makes those guys, obviously you see their safety in the box. You see a 7-man box here, but all of those guys crash because of what just happened on the prior play. And it opens up that window for Josh Allen to throw it right behind where 21 just was, an easy passing catch for Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs into the end zone. So that's the point here. It's the succession of how these plays are called, how Dorsey is calling it, and then why he's calling it based on the success or failure of the previous play. And I think it goes to show how much this offense can gain from some efficient plays in the run game.
Can you go back to the previous play?
Singletary run?
Yes, please. Watch so from this end zone angle, everyone, just like feel free to go in slow-mo. Look how Miles Jack doesn't really fully commit. You see how he's playing it horizontally, and even as Singletary gets the ball, look where Miles Jack's eyes are. They're still kind of watching Allen.
And Allen, there are literally no routes to that side. It's like a quick route. Maybe it'll be a quick screen, but I don't think those were real routes. They were dummy RPO routes, and Allen's selling it. And they're all buying it right now. Miles Jack is still waiting to see, is the ball in Singletary's hand, or is this coming out for an RPO pass?
And when it's an RPO, again, defenses, the whole idea is to put the defense in general, but a specific defender or level of the defense in conflict. So, okay, if player A does this, I keep it and I throw it. If player A does that, I hand it off and they run. So look at the commitment there. Again, you don't really see it. You know, you have the front, obviously, play and run. You see the gap exchange up front, but Jack doesn't fully commit. Now, let's go to that Gabriel Davis touchdown. I'm sorry, Stephon Diggs touchdown. Look at the difference actually go from the sideline angle on this one if you can. Look at the second level commitment this time. Pause it. There's nobody in the second level. Go forward, keep going. Stop right there before Allen throws it. There's nobody in the second level. There is no second level. Everybody's at the first level because they just got gouged for a 23-yard run. And people asking in the chat, there was a unnecessary roughness called on there when Tommy Sweeney gets laid out at the end of that previous run, which is why I moved it forward. And exactly, so look at this. They just got gouged for a run. This is what we're talking about. Could this RPO still have worked? Could they still maybe have bit on the run action, even if there wasn't a good run to play before? Potentially, yes. We don't necessarily deal in absolutes like the Sith, even though the Sith are better than the Jedi. That's a fundamental fact. But because I don't want to get started on that hole, but you see, because of what the run did on the last play, look at just the change in what the defense did. What did we show you on that Devin Singletary run? You saw the front, the defensive line honoring run, but you saw the second level still playing more of that pass responsibility and still worrying a little bit more about Josh Allen. This time, the entire second level that's within the box commits. That's run commit. Boom. All on that side. And Stephon Diggs is wide open on this glance RPO. This is textbook. This is candy and a baby and stealing it from the baby. This is exactly what you want. Diggs replaces 21 right behind him. Window is wide open. Glance route, touchdown, easy. set up because of the run the play before. You just got beat with something. So what are you going to do? If you burn your hand on the stove, you're less likely to put your hand on the stove immediately after. You're like, no, I'm not going to do that. I just burned my hand. So what do? They just burn their hand the play before on that Singletary run. So the second level defenders all shoot up. Look at, they fill, right? Gap integrity, run fits, all that stuff. And Stephon Diggs just has tons of room to work. And Josh Allen has tons of room to work. There's literally no second level on this play. They're all
the only one who stays is Bush, because he's just, I don't know, he's waiting for this gap if Singletary gets it, if he goes over here.
Yes.
But he's the only one that still kept some depth and didn't get downhill on that run action. But either way,
it's beautiful. Like this is exactly what you want. And this is why a Bills team that uses these RPOs and is successful, both in terms of free access routes on the outside and the underneath, like we saw against the Titans, and these glance routes and slants. We've seen this with Davis. We've seen this with Diggs. We've seen this like with a pop version, getting vertical with Dawson Knox.
Yeah.
The Bills love these looks, and Josh Allen's great at it, and he's a huge threat with it. And then if you have a legitimate run game with the running backs, it makes it more dangerous. It makes it more worrisome for a defense. I also love how Josh is hopping as he throws his touchdown. Like, he's super pumped. Everybody just watch Josh get super giddy. He's mad giddy. You know why?
Yeah, I got a few of those in this too. I kept some extra Josh Allen stuff in the background for some of these clips.
Very nice. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a nice little Easter egg there. Yeah, but this is on the surface, it's like, man, what a great throw from Josh and what a great job by Stephon Diggs. But this was set up because of the run, the play before. Like, this was set up because of having a pivot and making the defense have to honor another aspect of your offense.
All right, so we're going to keep beating that drum. We're going to do it one more time. We got the successful run on this play here, another gap run. You see Dawkins coming from the complete opposite side of this play, somehow gets to the C gap, walls that guy off, allows Brown to climb to the second level, and you get a nice modest gain on this first down here. So it's not often that I use sideline angles for run plays, but I feel like it encapsulates that.
I like sideline angles to show the push.
Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's offensively or defensively, it gives you the perspective of like where the line of scrimmage is being established or reestablished.
And you see, obviously, you see most of those guys. I'll actually go to the end zone here. You see most of these guys, Saffold and Bates, walling off these guys, allowing Dawkins to get through, and Morse gets right to the second level. But all of this comes to fruition very well with everyone getting their assignments, sealing off to the right side where the gap is intended to go, and then allows Brown to kind of be a lead blocker because of what Dawkins is doing to seal off that end man, number 98. And Singletary just follows. Nice, just modest gain on this counter run, 6-7 yards. But once again, it plays to what is coming next. And the Easter egg to this one is that there's still a pass option on this play. And I think if you see this guy bite a little bit harder on the run action, you might see Josh Allen go to Gabe Davis at the bottom of the screen here. So that's even the more indefensible part to this. It's like, which way do you want to die on this play?
There's so many tags you can attach to these RPOs, and that's what makes it so dangerous. I mean, it's also a bit complicated for offensive lines at times, but it's a real benefit when you can block it up right, and you've got a traditional dual threat piece to your offense. I'm not talking individually. I'm talking like the run and the pass. It puts an entire defense in conflict, not just an individual defender that you're reading on the RPO. And yeah, you hit it. Like, Spencer Brown gets enough of his man, climbs to the second level. You see the athleticism of Deion Dawkins coming around, and Dawkins' block here is real nice. He flows right around, gets his hooks in, and then turns. And that's it. And it would be nice if this could turn into like a 15-yard gain or a 20-yard gain, but this is 1st and 10, and the next down is 2nd and 7 because of this run. And
2nd and 3.
Oh yeah, sorry, 2nd and 3 because it was a 7-yard gain. I'm falling apart.
Math backwards.
I'm falling apart already. And so you get that 2nd and 3 because of the 7-yard gain on first down. And now, like we've talked about, you're ahead of the sticks. It opens up a multitude of options for you on 2nd and short, and it puts that nugget into the defense's brain for the future of having to be like, oh, they hit another run. Like, we got gouged again in the run. Like, this is something we have to continue to honor. This is something we have to respect. And again, you get a lot of good blocks and pieces, not completely winning, not completely beating, but you get Khalil Shakir getting in his man's way.
Doing enough sealing off,
Yep.
making an alley. That's really all it is. Just doing enough to seal off that alley for
And,
Singletary.
and that's all you want. Like Morse gets enough of his man that, when Jack scrapes down, he ends up making the play. But again, like Singletary's already 5-6 yards downfield at that point. And so then you're sitting there at a 7-yard gain. That's all you want. It's getting those chunk plays. So an explosive run is anything 10 yards or more. But if you're running for 5 yards a clip on the ground, that's success. Yes, that's a huge successful piece, especially when you're pairing it with a potent passing offense like the Buffalo Bills. If you're running it for 5 yards a clip, and when I say 5 yards a clip, I don't mean the average. I don't mean like running for 10 and then running for 0. And then it's like, well, the two combined, it's an average of 5 yards. No,
consistently
it's not that. Yes, netting 5 yards consistently for an offense that is pass first. Any team that can run it for 5 yards a clip consistently is a big boon. But especially with this pass first offense, like what do you do? What do you defend? Where do you allocate resources? Is it Josh Allen's arm? Is it Josh Allen's legs? Is it Stephon Diggs? Is it Gabriel Davis? Is it a healthy Dawson Knox? Is it the run game? Like, what do you do? And sometimes even just that, even that level of consternation and mental strife for a defense, whether it's the coordinators or the players or the install or the in-game execution, that's just a lot to have to deal with and like combat. And it's really encouraging to see the Bills get back to this and have success in this ways. This is simple, right? This doesn't take a ton. Like you get Spencer Brown being athletic, getting a piece of his man. You get Deion Dawkins with the hook. Everybody else just hold your block for like a second and a half. 7 yards. That's it.
But
this isn't
and you say it's so right, but it's been so elusive for this offense to get something like this. So that's why it's just such a massive checkbox to see them do it against a well-coached defense. Like this isn't a slouch of a defense, and obviously they were banged up in terms of injuries. But
very fair. But they pride themselves on defense, and they don't get waxed like this often. And again, for a Bills team that hasn't been good with the run, and I think a lot of it too has come from that's a really loud motorcycle. I think a lot of it has come from them leaning more into zone and the lack of chemistry that they have together. So going to more of these individual assignment-based blocking schemes and something that worked well for the team last year. Again, everybody except Roger Saffold was on this offensive line last year when Gap was working. So why not go back to it?
100%. And now, once again, same trend is going. We have the successful run play, the play before. Get the glance right behind it in the RPO game. And you see this second level. Once again, you see 21 in the box, and everyone is biting forward on the run action because of what you just saw. The
second level disappears again.
Second level is gone. All three of these guys are going to get sucked up by the run action. No one's going to be in that second level. They're all going to be on the first level as pass rushers.
There's literally nobody there.
No one there. It's all vacated. You see Miles Jack try to get into the passing lane. He cannot, and just wide open for Diggs. And Diggs makes a really nice pluck grab at this, but it still goes to show, obviously, that was a tough catch for him at the catch point, but to get the ball there in general, the window was wide open for Josh Allen, and that itself was set up by the run game.
Yeah, and if you're the defense, right, you just got gouged on first down for 7 yards. So now you're sitting there knowing that you just got beat on another run, and combined with the situation, it's 2nd and 3. So if you're sitting there run, you're thinking like, you know what? Okay, maybe they're trying to hand it off, just get a quick first down and reset. And no, it's not. And this is a really good catch by Gabriel Davis, like something that he struggled with at times in Baltimore the week prior, whether it was weather, whether it was health. We saw uncharacteristic drops from him, and it was nice to see. We saw the deep ball and, him stretch the field vertically, but it was nice to see Gabriel Davis get back into the contested catch piece of his game and making a play over the middle, where that size and that frame is a huge bonus in the middle of the field, because he can almost shield, him hit the ball from defenders and box out defenders. We hear that from bigger bodied guys all the time. Like, that's a huge piece. And then on top of it, you give Josh Allen all that area to work with underneath, because the second level became the first level. This is another play again. We keep drilling it home, and it's not because we like it. This is very hard on a defense. Like, there is no second level. It's just the first and the third. There's no middle. There's no intermediate defense, which means like Josh Allen has all the room to work with. Gabe Davis has all the room to work with. Like this is as close to pitch and catch as you can get. And again, it's set up because of the success of the running game.
And we're gonna circle it all back for a third play here. So we're gonna do it again. Bills towards the red zone now. Once again, you get that gap run. You get Singletary out. Same exact run. Got two pullers. You got Bates. And sorry, it's not two pullers on this one. You just got Morse on this one, but he's still leading the way, and that's the point. You want to get Morse in this position where he can show his athleticism. He's not that people mover, like you said. You want to get him out in motion, allow him to use his athleticism, get ahead of Singletary on the play, and lead him through the assigned run gap. You see him get a piece of Miles Jack. Of course, Singletary gets caught from behind by Devin Bush here, obviously great athlete. But point being, you see the Bills get that 5 yards here, keeps them ahead of schedule, and moves them on to the next play. Once again, making the Steelers honor the rushing attack from these running backs.
Yeah, you're not just running it just for the sake of running it. You're doing it to stay ahead of the sticks and set something up for later. Like everything started to connect a lot in a variety of ways in this game. And I think that's what we're really trying to drive home here with the crux of this run segment to lead off this episode is you see the connection pieces. You see like they're doing this. And that's what Ken Dorsey talked about this past offseason. It's getting everybody to understand like, okay, we're calling this play, yes, because we think it'll be successful in a vacuum, but also getting everybody to understand the purpose of calling this play for what it sets up later. And that later could be the next drive, the next half, the next quarter, the next time you play that opponent 3 weeks from now in the playoffs, anything and everything. It's understanding how to connect these dots and make them work. And even though the blocks aren't completely held up front, you get enough of a hat on a hat as you started to highlight, you see Spencer Brown get outside, which is, again, that entire right side, Morse, Bates, and Brown is built to live in that space world. Yes, they're not people. They're not people. Well, Spencer Brown can be a people mover, but they are movers in and of themselves. So I guess that still works. Like they're fast, they're athletic, they're good on their feet. They're able to make things happen when they get out in space, especially when they get mismatched against corners and safeties and even linebackers at times. So this is another way of setting your players up for success and playing to their strengths. This zone scheme was something just wasn't clicking these last several weeks for a multitude of reasons that we've talked about on the show. So it's kind of like, all right, like what can we do to simplify things? All right, what do we do best? And look at who we've been highlighting in these pin and pulls, right? Like who's not a great mover in space? Roger Saffold. So who's not pulling on these plays? Roger Saffold. Who's great in space? Mitch Morse, Ryan Bates, Spencer Brown. Those are your pullers. Play to the strengths, both left side and right side, be able to make moves and make things happen and make the defense consistently have to honor everything.
And it's funny too, you mentioned Saffold. I mean, he's the only one that couldn't get his block, and it's because of this defensive lineman here just gets too far inside, and Bates can't really drive him up the field, and it doesn't allow Saffold to get to the second level, get to Devin Bush, and ultimately Devin Bush is the one that makes the tackle here. And if obviously you scheme these things up where Saffold is supposed to get to Bush, but everything doesn't go as planned all the time, and this is where you see there's still some yards being left on the table. If you can get Devin Bush blocked up and you can get Singletary in this area without someone on his heels.
But you know what's funny too is like, okay, so this wasn't blocked up to, the ideal or to perfection, and you left some meat on the bone, which is very fair. But all that being said, this is still like a 6-yard carry.
Exactly.
So the floor.
That's the positive.
Yes, the floor of this play is a 6-yard run. The ceiling of it is maybe get the ball down to the 5. Maybe Singletary breaks a tackle and you get a touchdown. Like it's just easy. And you know what else it's doing? Something that we didn't see in Miami. What is Josh Allen doing on this play? He just gets to hand it off and he just gets to chill. He just gets to stand there. This play ends. He gets Dorsey start, talking in his ear, or whether Dorsey's communicating to Brady, Brady's the one speaking into Mike, whatever have you. But you get Josh Allen just getting to chill. He gets to catch his breath. He gets to collect himself mentally. It's a stress-free play for Josh Allen. Granted, if you have an RPO read to it or a pass tag attached to it, it's a little different. But he doesn't have to exert a lot of energy on this play. You get to rest your guy who is the engine for your team. That's always a bonus. And you're doing it while you're gaining yards and threatening defenses and toying with them mentally, it's a nice piece.
And then obviously the next play, we see the RPO pass. You see the pulling blockers, kind of that run action of the pullers and the actual mesh point with the fake handoff obviously brings that second level forward. You see the Steelers with a blitzing corner here, and this man is going to replace onto Hodgins, but it's too late for the bubble screen. The yards are already there to be had, and Hodgins makes the first man miss, gets 5 more yards after the catch. And that's the whole point of this. It's making everything easier on the offense. Take pressure off of Josh Allen by allowing the man standing next to him, whether it's Motor, Cook, or Moss, whoever it is, make life easier for Josh Allen, even in the RPO game. And you see that being done here for the third example.
I keep laughing because at the end right here, you see Josh Allen just come onto the right side of the screen towards the end of the play as he's just like super pumped for the further.
No, he's pissed about Cam Hayward taking out Motor.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Good call.
Yeah, see, this is one of the Easter eggs I kept in. And that's the point. Great teammate. That's why he's the cap. He obviously, you see the offensive lineman. You know what offensive linemen do anytime Josh Allen gets hit or quarterback gets hit, they go fight for their man. Quarterback can't fight for their man like that, but he's doing what he can, pleading with the ref.
I think Cam Hayward was like, I ran all this way and didn't get to hit anybody. I'm hitting something, and just completely took out Motor. But the play in and of itself, you get that action again, and this time you get Highsmith comes off the edge, and then the slot corner comes as well. And this is just easy for Josh to get it to Isaiah Hodgins. And how about Isaiah Hodgins making a nice open field move, just putting his foot in the ground and getting forward. And this isn't sexy. This isn't the flashiest play, but it's second down. And now you have a first down into the low red zone because you just made an easy play. I like how Hodgins, he doesn't get too deep, but he gives himself a little bit of a bubble off the line. So he gives himself some natural separation, even more so to set this move up when the safety comes screaming down on him. But this is just easy football. Like it's like baseball. You hit it where the defense isn't.
Definitely a fortunate offensive play call versus defensive play call with that slot blitz, but still goes to show what the run can do to suck those guys in, whether that blitz was assigned for a run stop or if it was assigned to get.
Well, my thought there too is where if you're looking where Allen's eyes are, if you go slow, he sees this slot corner coming as he hands off. Yeah. So there's a chance in this world that if that slot corner doesn't come, he's handing this ball off. Based on the angle though, he could be also keying Alex Highsmith. And he's seeing Highsmith screaming down, so he might chuck it out anyway. But either way, it's Josh making the right read at the right time, and you get some opportunity there. I don't think if the corner stays, it's a 3-over-2 scenario. I don't think he throws that ball. No. I think he's handing it off because he sees the corner blitz, which again is like, I don't want to dote all over him too much, which we're gonna when we get to the passing part of this game. But that's a really nice, quick, instantaneous reaction and a good ball all in the blink of an eye, reading the defense.
Yep. All right, so closing point on these RPOs. This is very late in the game. I believe this is like first or second-ish play of the fourth quarter, but we're going to get RPO pass. This isn't even off of a run play. Like, this isn't right after a successful run. This is just the Bills have been successful on the ground for 3 quarters, so now the Steelers are respecting it, and you see that second level just completely gets sucked up to the first level, and it opens up that glance route for Diggs. And obviously we know Diggs has been a menace this year, and specifically he's been doing a great job with Yak, but this is where that comes in. When the run game is sucking that second level up, there's no one to even tackle him on the backside. These linebackers, no one's here to nip at his heels. No one's there, and it just opens so much up for him at the second level to get all of these yards that are available to him.
Yeah, this isn't like a change in identity or scheme or structure for you'll see this on paper and it's like, oh man, he had like 20 something yards of Yak on this play. Like, I wonder what they did to scheme that up. It's like they didn't do anything.
This is their glance RPO that they do.
That's it. The second level bit so hard on the run that there is nobody on that side of the field, and the glance is wide open for the completion and then wide open for the run after catch. Again, that's also a piece too. So many people, how many fans this whole offseason have been talking about Yak, yards after catch and run after catch, and is it the routes? Is it Dable? Is it Josh Allen's ball placement. Josh Allen's talked about it. Ken Dorsey's talked about it. Receivers have talked about it. Literally, like anyone and everyone talks about yards after catch. But as you have the highlighted there piece for the second level defenders, and now you have
it goes from
again.
the 44 to the 41.
That's it. Like, so the second level defenders have become part of the first level once again. You have no second level. You've got Minkah Fitzpatrick as the only player past the Bills' 45-yard line. And he's not at a proper angle because of the coverage that he was playing, where he was aligned pre-snap and then what he was doing post-snap. And everybody's talked about Yak, but part of the ability to create yards after catch is not having a numbers disadvantage against the coverage. If you have defenses that are just rushing 4 or rushing 3 and they're dropping 7 and they're dropping 8, this isn't anything revelatory that I'm saying. You have less space to operate with when you in the route distribution because there's more defenders out there. That's when you get more of the, I'll catch it and let me try and break a tackle. And I'm surrounded by 3 guys. Let me go down. When you can suck up all these defenders, whether it's regular play action or an RPO type of look, all of a sudden, and you've eliminated an entire level of the defense. There's all this natural space that's created for yards after catch. So this isn't some new, thing that Dorsey has created or some new scheme where it's like, here's how we're going to create yards after catch. This is just old school. Hey, we're doing a good job at running the football. Let's give some run action, suck up the second level, and then throw it where they're not anymore. And all of a sudden there's this open space. It's everything, again, connecting, tying together. I feel like people don't think about that with the yards after catch piece. The run game is another piece that can lead to more yak. Yep. Everything is connected. Time is a flat circle. True Detective reference.
So that's it for the RPO segment and how the run was opening things up for the RPO game and made life easier for Josh Allen in that regard. But we still want to highlight one run play, and it's for the Rook. Gets his touchdown. James Cook gets his 24-yard touchdown on a great cutback play. I mean, this really is everything he is. One cut downhill, press the hole, and then make a cutback if you see it, or just go through the hole if it's there. And he makes the cutback. And then, the angle that he just completely beats with the safety, that's really the idea with him. And that's why I kept this end zone angle. You see it right here. And with Motor and Moss, Moss is probably going to get tackled by the safety most times. Motor will probably make him miss 50% of the time. Cook, legitimately can make this safety miss every single time just because of how he busts angles with his speed, and he doesn't even make a move.
I was gonna say he doesn't even put his foot in the ground. It's just kind of like rounded
here. He just runs. He just goes left a little bit and keeps running. So that's really the element to this offense that can be unlocked with James Cook just getting more explosives in the run game because of what he can do in terms of busting angles. But I really did like what the offensive line did here. You see some double teams up front, and specifically some guys obviously keeping those double teams, and then you're seeing some guys climb to the second level. I really like what Bobby Hart did here. Bobby Hart has sneakily been a really good run blocker this year for the
he's
Bills,
good. He's good as like the 6-man
Exactly.
offensive lineman in these like kind of quote unquote 2 tight end sets, but it's really a 6 offensive lineman.
Exactly. But he's been doing a good job here. You see this is a reach block for him. He's got to get helmet to helmet with this guy. Obviously, Brown helps him out on the front end. Morse does the same for Bates. Morse climbs, Brown climbs, and you get this action where everything is sealed up, and Cook counts the hats, counts the blockers, and who is it? Tommy Sweeney over here does enough to get inside of 54 and force 54 to go around him, make that bubble even larger for the cutback angle, and Cook hits it hard and takes it to the house.
Kendall, we got to pause for a minute because we got a super chat. One of our favorite people, John DeMarchi, not just because he gives us money, that's part of it, but also just because of your consistent presence, John, and also what you comment in it. And I love, so one, thank you for, he does it again. 1, John, thank you for being here. 2, thank you for the super chat. 3, fantastic comment following up with time is a flat circle, but in some multiverses, our Bills are a dynasty. Bills Mafia, 53 years, and now behind enemy lines in Miami Beach. Great show. We appreciate the kind words. And for those who don't know, yes, John, big Bills fan, living behind enemy lines down in Miami Beach. I cannot imagine how unpleasant it was for you after week 3 with that Miami win. So we continue to you give us support and we continue to give you our support because it can't be easy down there in general. Well, weather-wise, well, maybe not with hurricanes. I'm just going to stop talking about things. We appreciate you, John. Thank you so much. This run, I posted a clip of this run on game day, and then Eric and I were talking about it a bit. There's a couple of pieces that are really nice with this run. You highlighted several of them, but if you look at it from the end zone angle, and you pause it when we get to it, if you look at Tommy Sweeney's alignment, right, he's got a wide alignment. That forces 54 to meet him with that alignment, which causes when this run play happens, if you want to play it, and then you play it normal, I'll tell you when to pause it. Little more, stop. So that creates a huge bubble in that gap, right? Cook already knows this. He's looking front side. He sees where Cam Hayward is. He's eyeballed Devin Bush, number 55. As soon as he gets this ball, he is already thinking cut back. He knows about the alignment. He sees the defense getting washed, and he sees the front side of this play coming up. He has this eyeball from the moment he gets this ball, right? You see his head turn, cuts up, and he hits it. 54 is put at a disadvantage because of the alignment from Sweeney, combined with he has that BCR responsibility, the bootleg, counter, and run responsibility. He's got to honor that a little bit just in case Allen keeps the ball. It causes a slight amount of hesitation. And this is the difference in James Cook. Zach Moss, if he gets through this hole, cool. Maybe he does and he breaks a tackle and he gets some yards. Devin Singletary probably gets through this hole, but maybe gets tackled at the 20 and falls forward to the 15. James Cook's speed and burst allows him to get through this hole untouched. And then exactly like you said, he comes one-on-one with Minkah Fitzpatrick. And Minkah Fitzpatrick is fantastic. I know a lot of people think of him as like a coverage safety. He's also a good tackler, and he's also good coming from depth. Yes, he erases a lot of things. He gets made to look foolish on this play because of James Cook's speed. And again, that's what Cook offers. He has that speed that changes angles. He can make defenders wrong even when they're initially right or in potential good position. Fitzpatrick comes down square. He's on the balls of his feet. He's coming from depth. He's experienced living in this role. And Cook has him head up. Like we talked about, he doesn't even make a hard cut. He just goes forward. He rounds it out and just is like, nah, cool, let me take this angle. Like, so you see him eyeball it. He knows exactly where he's going. He gets through the hole, and then it's just speed. It's nothing over the top. It's not some crazy dead leg. It's not some shimmy. It's not some juke that shakes Fitzpatrick out of his shoes. It's just speed. It's just an element that this backfield, that's exactly it. I'm faster than you. I'm already running. You're at 0. I'm already at 25. Let me crank it up to 100. Boom. And he puts Fitzpatrick at a disadvantage in the blink of an eye after getting through the hole clean. This is the advantage. It's not just the run game in general. It's now you've got this mid-zone run on top of running all these gap scheme runs. And it's this element that he offers. Singletary and or Moss, I don't think either of them score on this play.
No, neither do I.
Both of them could make a good run out of it. Neither of them score because neither of them have this burst and this speed. And I don't mean that negatively towards either of them, but this is the element that James Cook adds. And it's extremely exciting, especially for a team that at some point wants to mix in some zone runs. If you got this guy that can anticipate the reads up front and then has the speed to make all you have to do is hang on to your block for a second and then get through. Boom. He can make you right when you're wrong, and he's got that speed that kind of erases things.